You're watching St. Lucia's only 100% digital television station, Hot 7 TV.
On this TV program by the hosts, guests, and callers are solely their opinions and responsibility. They do not necessarily represent the views and opinions of Hot 7 TV or its affiliates.
Good night, folks. Good night, and welcome to another episode of Keeping It Real. I'm so glad that you could join me tonight. Yours truly, Norbert Williams, right here, getting everything lined up for you. Keeping It Real. Tonight's episode, Rumours. And you'll figure out exactly what that means and who it refers to and all of that kind of thing. You know, folks, rumors seem to have a foothold in St. Lucia. But before we get into all of that, you know, I have to give the shout outs to the big fans of the show. Otherwise, I'm going to be in trouble as usual. So, whoa, computer's misbehaving tonight, folks, but nevertheless, I'm going to try to take control of that. Anyway, special good night, special shout out to Delce. That's in Choiseul, of course, isn't it? Delce. Somebody told me earlier today, they love the bow tie. Don't you all like the bow tie? Let me know about it later on when you can call in. I know there are some of the haters out there who just love to hate the bow ties. But, you know, tonight is a special night because, you know, we're going to deal with some issues that have been troubling lately. It'll cause for a lot of talk in St. Lucia. And, of course, you're going to be part of all the action here tonight, because Keeping It Real keeps it real with you every night. Every Tuesday night, that is. Anyway, special shout out to all the viewers in Delce, in Choiseul. Is that Choiseul? I hope I got it right. In Opicon, good night to you. Pierrot, down in Vieux-Fort. Balata, yeah, I'm all over the map tonight because I got to cover the island quickly. Mondidon, La Pensée, Richfort. Good night to you out there in Richfort. Oleon. Hey, everybody's talking about Oleon. I wonder why. Good night. Somebody says, out of St. Lucia. Mama, you look smashing. Good night to you. In Toronto, Canada, where it's already getting cold. 40-something degrees, I think, today. Good night to you. Good night to some special people in New Village. Good night to you. I'm watching you. Kabish. Good night to Kabish. Good night to Leslie Land. Good night to Marsha. Good night to Entrepot, Independent City, Wavin Chabot. Where else? Mon, Castries, La Pensée, Mondudon, Piats Gap, all along Chaussee Road. Where else? Black Malay. That's right. Rock Hall. That's right. Rock Hall. Good night to Ancillary. Good night to the north. Good night, Market Street in Ancillary. That's right. Where everything stops. I told you all before. Ancillary is keeping it real. Special. Keeping it real. Number one fans. When Keeping It Real is on, folks, everything stops in Ancillary. Good night to the Ajudas by the square in Ancillary. Good night to all of you. Canaries, Flora Villa, Tupatu, Church Street, whatever street, all of them. Good night to you. Good night to Frey, Pamis. Good night. Good night. New Development Area. Good night to, hey, Herod Stanislaus. Good night to you over there. Good night to Choiseul. Good night to Laborie. Is there a Republic? Anyway, Vieux-Fort, Miku, Deriso, Tupatu, Dennery North, Dennery South, Dennery Village. Good night to you. Tom Chu. Good night to you. Good night to you right along the highway there in Viewfort. I know every Tuesday night there's a watch party over there. Good night to you. You know who you are. Just keeping it real. I said Entrepot already. Ciceron. Good night to Masque, Latok Road. All over St. Lucia. Good night to you. And of course I have to say good night to those of you in the diaspora. North Dakota. Bet none of you know anybody out there, St. Lucian, in North Dakota. I think they still got cowboys out there, but anyway. New York City, Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx, Manhattan, Staten Island, New Jersey, Jersey City, Newark, Trenton. Good night to you if you're out there in Philly, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, if you're in Baltimore, Maryland, if you're in the DC area, yeah? If you're out there in Virginia, Miami, Raleigh-Durham in North Carolina. Opicon as always. Yes, I see you. Good night to you. Good night to Fort Lauderdale in Florida. Good night to West Palm. Good night to Bobono and Plateau. Supreme Foods out there. Good night. West Palm Beach, I said that. A #1 fan contacted me just yesterday. He's out there in South Korea. Don't know where he is tonight, but was last in South Korea. Good night to you. And of course, folks, special viewers, the original Keeping It Real crew on Sky FM right now, simulcasting live on Sky FM 93.1 FM with the man Champagne, where it all began almost 2.5 years ago. So, let me just lubricate. Yes, folks. COVID, action, talk. Also, good night to Atlanta, Georgia. Good night to you. I'm going to get in trouble. You see what I'm talking about, folks? What about me? Lance Road, your first fans were on the 100-inch screen. That's right, out there in Lance Road, folks, 100-inch screen. I think they might be on special for Christmas, but the 100-inch screeners know themselves. Now, I want to read something for you. I'm trying to pull it up. So please forgive me if it doesn't come up right away. Because there it is. There it is. You know, it's interesting. Yeah. So I think I will call early the photos. Don't bring them up yet, but have them ready, because I'm going to bring them up a little bit. The chamber photos, just get ready for those. I'll call them when I'm ready. Folks, last week Thursday to be precise, Prime Minister Alan Shasney met with, good night to the Clark family in Chicago, especially Brooke. Good night to you, Brooke. I don't know what that means, but you figure it out. Prime Minister Alan Shasney met with the Chamber of Commerce last week, Thursday, and to give a report and to discuss the state of affairs, particularly because of the situation that we're in now, the global pandemic, COVID. And the Prime Minister spoke about the state of finances, the amount of monies that the government was making or makes every month now compared to pre-COVID, and the percentage that it was down, and all of these things, you know, getting the hospitals ready, the expenditure, the additional monies that had to be spent to get everything ready, the police, the hospitals, the nurses, PPE equipment, testing, and all of that. You get it, the general idea. And in that meeting, if you will, with the chamber, there were representatives from the different sectors within the chamber. Manufacturing, retail, blah, 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 you know. Pamoiki pawe. And in there, well known as an accountant, if I'm correct, Mr. Richard Peterkin. And Mr. Richard Peterkin, after the meeting, posted on Facebook what was discussed and the highlights, the pointers of what the Prime Minister discussed at the meeting. But lo and behold now, a few days afterwards, in fact yesterday, and he is up very early, Mr. John Peters, having read the post by Richard Peterkin, proceeded to, well, I think he watches Keeping It Real quite a bit, because it seems like he embarked upon his own analysis of the paralysis, which he entitled, "We Have an Economic Crisis on Our Hands." And then he proceeds to indicate, to repeat exactly what Richard Peterkin did a few days before him. He spoke about the reduction in revenues for the government. He spoke about the public debt. Of course, he put in a few things of his own. He spoke about the GDP. He spoke about CIP applications up by 129%. And all of this. And then he mentioned some projects: Point Seraphine, Pearl of the Caribbean, Canals Resort, Cabot Links, Soleil Couché, Anse de Sable. And then he goes on to say, none of the above have started and are unlikely to start in this financial year. He spoke about in public sector investment, the following projects are yet to start: the Millennium Highway, West Coast Road. He talks about the Cul-de-sac Bridge, the John Compton Desilting Program, Huonora International Airport, a lot of things. And then he talks about, he qualifies his ability to opine, to analyze the situation, because he says in 1994, my position as chief engineer brought me to the center of one of the greatest crises in St. Lucia, blah, blah, blah. He talked about Hurricane Debbie. I was a young 32-year-old maverick. Remember that show on TV, Maverick? You don't hear people using those words too much nowadays. He was a maverick who believed everything was possible. I saw St. Lucians from every community, every race, every political persuasion coming together to rebuild our country. It was an experience that stays with you forever. Tropical storm Debbie affected the island for about 12 hours. This financial storm is blowing every day, every second as time goes by. Every day we are moving further into debt, further into this economic crisis. We are now in a war. We have a sinking ship, and all hands must be on deck to save this ship. Now, although he mentioned all of the financial situations and everything else, the underlying tone of John Peters, rather than being as factual, as matter of fact, as Richard Peterkin, based on my analysis of this paralysis, because there's paralysis in this, John Peters, one who opines on everything, we have an economic crisis on our hands. But in stating the facts as presented by the Prime Minister and as reported again accurately by Richard Peterkin, John Peters somehow missed the biggest part in all of this. He did not see the white elephant in the room of this discussion, in the whole entire complete complex of all of this. And what is that, you ask? What is that, you ask? John Peters, in all of his analysis there, did not figure that the big cause of all of this is COVID-19 And the underlying sentiments you detect, or at least I detected from all of that, was that he was apportioning blame on the government, this government. Because he's talking in the time of now, and he's quoting the figures as presented by Prime Minister Alan Chasney. So therefore, the only person he could be apportioning that silent blame upon is this current government. Nowhere in all of this does he mention, not in one sentence, not with one word, COVID-19, the effects that it's having on St. Lucia, the expense that it has caused to the government, the expense that it has caused to the workers, the lack of monies, the expense or the lack of money-making ability that it has caused on businesses in St. Lucia, on supermarkets, on accounting firms, all businesses in our economy, on tourism, on the farmers, on the taxi drivers, hotel workers, entertainers, musicians. He says nothing. He does not make the connection anywhere in that. But we're in a war. Who's in the war? How are we being bombarded? What type of missiles are being rained upon the people of St. Lucia? But notwithstanding all of that, he fails to realize or to comment or mention in the slightest of terms that St. Lucia is not the only one in this predicament. The whole world, dang nammit, John Peters. The whole world. Even the big granddaddy of them all, who's making all of this money and who has the biggest economy in the world, the United States of America, is balling. You can't call Chasney now over there. 60 million people out of work. 60 million. But that somehow eludes John Peters. It eludes him. Every single day on the news, the effects of COVID-19, the coronavirus, on the economies of the world. The UK, Spain, the European Union. Look, UK is closing down. Where they're closing down? Manchester, they're closing down there, they're closing down there. Ireland closing down, Spain closing, this, that. Tout moun ka hele. Canada, we see a spike. The US, there's a spike. Even in St. Lucia now, there's a spike compared to the small numbers we had before. Martinique, there's a spike. Guadeloupe is blowing up out of control. Trinidad, Barbad, Tupatu. And talking about Barbados, those darn hypocrites. The hypocrites out there. You know,
all of you hypocrites, you're gonna pay the price someday.
You know what really irks me, folks? There's no clock tonight giving me the time down. I can't see it. No, I can't. That's too far. That's too far down there. Can't see the clock. That means we go on until I stop. Folks, the hypocrisy of some people, the convenience of speaking only about certain things or in a particular direction is what gets me. You know that? With all of this happening in the world, it somehow just gets glossed over by John Peters and by a number of people out there. The government implemented the state of emergency, and of course the opposition were bawling, oh, state of emergency, you're going to abuse your powers. We're going to keep an eye on you. We're going to keep an eye on you. Make sure you don't abuse. There have been no charges of any abuse from anyone during the state of emergency. None. N-U-N, none. But the calls, the cries, you thought somebody was squeezing the cojones. The state of emergency, you got to take it off. It's stifling the people. Dang nammit, we had COVID. It's extraordinary times. which required extraordinary measures. And it wasn't, again, it wasn't only St. Lucia. It was Barbados, it was St. Vincent, it was the US, it was Canada. There were curfews, there were lockdowns in certain areas, bars were closed, licenses for alcohol suspended. They were even calling it, remember, let's go down memory lane just a little bit. They were even calling it sanitizer gorge. Ou changer ça? And all the hypocrites who bawled about, oh, people give people a drink, and they gotta get a drink. Bunch of alcoholics. Yes, St. Lucia has a terrible problem with alcoholism. I'm keeping it real with you. Let's not pretend. We know it. We've been saying it for years. I've been saying it for years, a very long time too. There are a lot of gogues in St. Lucia. Male and female gogues. Gogues. I know a man wants a drink and this, that, and there are reasons. Shut down the bars. Because once the alcohol is out there, people are going to congregate. Why do you think the alcohol sells so much? Why do you think that bar on the end there by Rodney Bay, at the end of the strip by the entrance to Rodney Bay Marina, sold the most beer in St. Lucia? Why do you think it's flowing in Grosley when they were swinging? Why do you think it's a number one seller anytime you have a block or you have anything at all? You want to make some money. Put the alcohol there. Be settled. Say, yo ka boy, monsieur. Just to give you a little joke, this guy who hadn't been to a party in a long time, so he went to the party, drank out everything there, drunk as hell. Going back, walking up the hill to his house, grabs onto a lamp pole, he knocking, tock, 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 Sonia, uvela, Sonia, uvela. Nobody answering. So a guy coming from the same party, living a little higher up the hill, so he said, George, gasa, sauka fella. Seki saki gasa, now to ya kai mo kuma. I say, okay, going into your house, all right, I'm going home. A few minutes later, another guy drives up, stops by and says, Gasa, tok, 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 Sonia, uvela. He says, Gasa, George, Gasa, sauka fella. George looks at me and says, Gasa, ki saki vel, mem si mwesu. Na konet, mwe konet ko na ale kuma. Na atwe kai mwe. Fella say, George, Gasa la pani pierson la. They say, nobody there. He said, ki man ya ukadi me la pani pierson la. Eklani light upstairs. Hey, no laughing. No laugh. Stop laughing. You're on the job. Just keep it real. It's a little comedy for y'all. Break the tension of COVID. Some people so tense and they so itchet. But anyway, state of emergency done, and some people chose to take advantage of the little break to have a mass crowd event. You have that flyer for me? Mass crowd event. And the irony of it, the ridiculosity of it, I made up another word there. You better look that one up. The ridiculous smokescreen concerns, just to make people believe that, there's some sort of responsibility in all of it. The SLP had a flyer which was online, and at the bottom of it, it said, COVID-19 protocols in effect. But the state of emergency was done. There was no COVID-19 protocols. And of course, the COVID-19 bill had not been approved. So which COVID-19? There were no COVID-19 protocols. And if you want to say the COVID-19 protocols, wear your mask, sanitize your hands, social distancing, but whoa, those were not all the protocols. Since you all want to be so self-serving and you want to say COVID-19 protocols in effect, what happened to the 500 person crowd limit? What about that protocol? Y'all didn't remember that one? What about the 500 person limit to mass crowds? And if you're so aware and you're so concerned about the people, COVID-19 protocols in effect, didn't you know that COVID-19 was still in the world? COVID-19 was still around. that even though the state of emergency had expired on the 30th of September, that the danger was still clear and present in St. Lucia? Wherever people come from, back door, under the door, upstairs, downstairs, and in my lady's chumba, St. Lucia had not, just because the state of emergency had expired, magically become immune. But these are the people, folks, who want to control the reins of power in St. Lucia again. This is the responsibility. These are the leaders, the so-called leaders. But then again, why am I surprised? I should just go home now. Why am I surprised? When they had to make decisions, responsible decisions, they couldn't. Whatever they said did not come to fruition. Should I go into that again? But let's just leave that. Let's leave that for now. Let's just leave that for now. Whole lot of noise. Whole lot of noise. Tell you they demonstrating against the COVID bill and people's rights and all of this baloney. What happened just last week there? What Philippe said? Follow the protocols, cooperate with the authorities. Which authorities? Which authorities? The ultimate authority for COVID-19 is the government of St. Lucia. Minister of Health, Chief Medical Officer, Sharon Belmar George. And I tell you, we in October, we go into November. I call for Dr. Sharon Belmar George to be the person of the year 2020. Let me hear you say, Amen. Sharon Belmar George, person of the year 2020. I called it. I call it early. Just like some people will be calling elections early. Some of them will need the facilities of St. Jude to take care of them, or the OKEU. Ooh. But you know the hypocrisy. Oh, wow. Almost made up another word there. The hypocrisy. The hypocrisy. Somebody says, I approve and endorse your choice for person of the year. But anyway, just having a little fun and just stating the obvious. Somebody else said amen to that. But sometimes you wonder, all the people who out there shouting about, here's our patrimony, we're patriots. You can parler comme si disait la je. You get the undertones. We know. We've been around. The washed up revolutionaries. And our patriots, and I will fight for our land that our forefathers, the flurious and the fancy speech, our forefathers left us. Mande adan yo ki saki forefathers. Repeating, copy and paste patriots. That's what they are. Copy and paste patriots. Our heritage and the Tululu and the Zagaya. Remember that foolishness? Foolishness. But there seems to be a group of people or some people in St. Lucia whose record is very well known and their pattern of behavior has been established for years. Copy and patriots. That's right. Not pastry you eating, Copy and patriots. For years their record is known. For years. And they don't surprise and they don't fool or hoodwink or bamboozle anyone with their nonsense, with their 3 B's principle. Remember that, folks? We haven't heard it for a while in Keeping It Real. 3 B's principle. Bullshit baffles brains. And good night to Keon and his mommy. Good night to you. Next thing I get in trouble. Good night to you all. State of emergency problem. St. Lucia has been the shining light in the world on how to deal with this, the measures, and whether you like it or not, the measures are necessary. Nobody just woke up one day and decided, you know what? Let's squeeze St. Lucians. You didn't have these measures last year. You didn't have a state of emergency last year. So what? Ask yourself the logical question. What is the cause? Cause and effect. Uhatan sakuma. Something happens. You know what they say? Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. COVID, you have to have a reaction. You have to do something. Fay, you ka heli. Pa fay, you ka di a lot by. When they cut the alcohol, when they suspended licenses, oh, you're suspending the people's license. People need a little drink. A man need a little drink. Like, oh, vese we ling la man. Yeah, ilong. Ilong. Ling la te long. Say, go get. That's why we have so much diabetes and tout kalte bagay simplicity. Top one mazan zot. Top! According to somebody. Stop that, man. Stop that. But St. Lucians always have a problem. Some of them, you know where they're coming from, the polytricking. The hackalacks. Those who were stricken with chagrin pouvoir. But lo and behold, today, in the news, I ain't nobody balling. People understand what's going on. But of course, some people have to be all international. Good night to you in Monnier. You see, people send me threatening messages. Good night to Monnier. Good night to you. And in Barbados today, you ready with that newspaper article? In Barbados today, man, downtown in Bridgetown, my Spice Church, Christchurch, in Spicetown, and all over the place, man, them Barbadians, man, them people serious about what's going on there. Yeah, man, I tell you, man. I tell you, give me the newspaper, man. Give it to me. Barbados extends the state of emergency today until the 23rd of March next year. 23rd of March next year, man. Scroll up. Can you scroll up? Let the people see what's going on there? Yeah, man. Read that, man. It's wide enough on a 100-inch screen. Read that. And of course, not forgetting the Facebook vagrants. Well, we have some of them out there, I tell you. Barbados today, declaring extension of the state of emergency. Sakite kay fetek se bugsala. But anything to last St. Lucia. Anything to last St. Lucia, ma. Mia. Upatan yo ka di anyen about sa. Upatan yo ka di anyen barsha, ma. Pisi yo pale yo ka hen karkaglo. Zamane karkaglo. They ain't saying nothing about, because that's the darling. Ebe Antigua, that's the darling up there. Quantité bay ha backfire en l'air là. Jol yo feme fap. Yo pa pale. Antigua, man. Yo pa pale. But the moment any of those people or anywhere else decides to do something different, so, you see, we're not doing that. This week alone, listen to me, folks. This week alone, Martinique had 737 cases. So, allez online. Aïe, ouais, pourquoi? Aïe, ouais, pourquoi? But not only that, the COVID bill, yoka hele. Oh, people's rights. You're going to take people's rights. Your right to die? Well, this government is not Jack Kevorkian, so go somewhere else. But lo and behold again, emulating and following in the footsteps of St. Lucia's stellar handling of this COVID-19 coronavirus situation, global pandemic, kwe sauvle. St. Kitts, you have St. Kitts for me? St. Kitts, 2-3 days ago, is going to pass what? Put it up for them to see, please. It's not there. It's the second one. Okay, folks. St. Kitts, modeled clearly after St. Lucia's very own, is passing COVID, mem no tut bagay COVID-19 Prevention and Control Bill Act. Oh my gosh! Jasne! Oh, Jasne! Jasne! Nobody's talking about the hackalacks. They're not talking about that. They ain't talking about what happened in Barbados, man. They ain't talking about that. I'm gonna make shots. They look too good, man. God bless you, man. What are you talking about? Can't talk about that. But that is the hypocrisy. That is the foolishness. That is the nonsense. Everything this government has done, despite all the nonsense about St. Lucia was the worst prepared. St. Lucia was the worst prepared. And then trying to find all types of excuses, all type of nonsense to justify that. All types of foolish reasoning to justify that ridiculous statement when all the evidence, all the facts, everything that was available proved otherwise, showed otherwise. You know what they call it? Stoic defiance. Samadhi. Yeah. You have the sent kits. Put it up for them. I want the top so they could see. You have the top of it? Scroll down. That's right. Bring it down. Let's see. Hey, Upani. What kind of thing is going on there? You're sabotaging me again tonight? But folks, you can read the story, Baste. I wanted them to see the headline. But anyway, that's good. The new COVID-19 Prevention and Control Bill. Did this? I want to get a copy of that and see if it's the same thing from St. Lucia. Mem no. That's what it is, folks. Prevention and control. The bill is intended to replace the emergency powers COVID-19 reg. Oh my gosh! No! It's not the same thing under the state of emergency in St. Lucia. Oh my gosh! OMG! Was St. Lucia a guiding light for Barbados? Was St. Lucia a guiding light for St. Kitts? Unbelievable! Unbelievable! I can't believe that. They can't believe that, man. That's why they ain't talking about it. That you could pull that down. We made the point with that. But you see, the Prime Minister of St. Lucia, the Minister of Health, the CMO, and the government of St. Lucia is concerned about the lives of St. Lucians, is concerned about the viability of businesses in St. Lucia. And for some reason, some people don't give damn about that. They will oppose, they will defy everything. And of course, we have out there, Adan Yokave top cable TV, top by sort lot sidela. All the conspiracy theories about nonsense when logical, any simple person, basic reasoning can figure out what's going on. You think when you have a state of emergency that it doesn't affect me, it doesn't affect these people in here, it doesn't affect the Prime Minister, his family, the ministers, everybody? You think the state of emergency is only for one group of people? I mean, come on now. Let's keep it real, folks. Let's keep it real. But you know, that's right. But you know what, folks? As we go into the break, some people are just mad because of what this government has been able to accomplish in the most trying of times for just about any government in St. Lucia. This COVID-19, this coronavirus situation. Chagouin Pouva, they're going mad. Drop it on them. Apt and suitable, going mad.
Mad. All they try, they're going mad. Mad. And it's looking bad. Going mad. Crazy. All they try, they're going mad. Mad.
They're going mad. Everything they try is not working, because when you doing it right, when you have the people's interest at heart, and when the accusations, the lies, and the propaganda don't have an ounce of credibility or any evidence to support, all that they have left to do is go mad. Gonna take our first break. Be right back.
I feel good. I do my work. I feel good. I do the good. So good. I got you. Wow. I feel nice. To the spot.
To experience the benefits of a tropical solar water heating system, call 453-1868 in Castries or 454-6344 in Vieux.
Yes, catch the first news from 7:15, only on channel 117. St. Lucia, Hot 7 TV was the first to bring you a full HD newscast. Now, here's another first. The Hot 7 Nightly News is now your first newscast for the evening in St. Lucia. You heard right. The Hot 7 Nightly News is now at 7:15. Yes, tune in at 6:45 p.m. and be the first to catch the latest happenings in your world. On the run, watch us on your cell phone or tablet via the Caribbean Hot FM app. Trusted objective journalism from our diligent news team. Get it fresh. Get it hot. The Hot 7 Nightly News. Now at 7:15. Watch us on channel 117 on Flow, channel 7 Plug and Play, or follow us on Facebook Live on Caribbean Hot 7 TV.
Welcome back, folks. That was a quick break. Welcome back to you. Welcome back to Keeping It Real. Tonight's episode, Rumours. Now, just to touch back on what we were discussing earlier in the first segment, you know, John Peters, and he has since apologized, only for that. But I hope now he will apologize for his lack of indicating that a significant part, or just about everything relating to the situation as described by the Prime Minister, reported by Richard Peterkin, and then copied and discussed again in a rather skewed manner by John Peters. One of the things he spoke about, the projects that would not start or didn't seem to start, was the desilting of the dam. Remember that, folks? 66% increase in the rates under the previous administration. Your water rates, nothing happened, things didn't change. And also, after that's on top of, like we say in St. Lucia, après you mette 66% increase, and lay on top of it, they put the desilting levy. They didn't desilt 1 teaspoon of silt from the dam. But Wasco has been working hard, and there's a board, and should I mention his name, Mr. Denbo, is working hard, and everybody else there. Wasco has been working hard. And the work, you know, some people try to throw shade, they're salty about the work that has been done. And, you know, they're conducting their own analysis. They're making statements, and when they could simply call. And most of them who talking the nonsense out there, they know Mr. Denbo, you know. Call him and ask. Call and ask a man. Y'all doing like the journalists in St. Lucia, a large number of them. Just jump into conclusions when all you can do, pick up the phone. and call, investigate, avant ou parler, last copy and paste. So he said the dam ain't going anywhere, blah, 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 all of this time and nothing's happening. Although, I don't seem to recall him being that critical previously about the dam. You know what I'm talking about, wink, wink, during the previous administration. But if I'm wrong, next week I'll say I stand corrected. So let's see what's actually happening. In fact, they did run the first trials of the dam. Yeah, the dam desilting project is ready to roll. Drop the video for them to see. That's the first trial run of the desilting operations for the dam. Now, folks, when you're taking photos for TV or to send to people, this is pas Instagram. Turn the phone the other way. Comme ça. Pas comme ça. You see how you're limited if you turn it landscape? You see, more of what's happening. More of what's happening. Just to tell you. So when you move the phone around, it doesn't look so jagged because it's upright like that. Portrait. Okay? Just keeping it real with you. A little quick photography class. Next class you pay. But now I want to go. Should I get into that there now? Yeah. Remember a few weeks ago, there was this whole big brouhaha, remember, about tons! And we had all that excitement last week and week before. And you saw the video. Excitement. Trespassing, Adamun. People who should know better. So-called lawyers, former parliamentarians, former police officers, challenging people on private property and asking them what authority you have there to stop. I mean, can you believe this nonsense? But anyway, let's go to what I really want to talk about that area down there. Remember the owner, what is Gilbert Robillard, if I remember correctly. Remember that, folks? But I want to bring to your attention because something kept nagging me. Not something happened. We might have that later. But something happened. The light bulb went off. And it kept troubling me in the documents, Sometimes you think and you're not thinking, but the brain's working. And with the granting of approved developer status, remember that? By Dr. Kenny Anthony and all of that. And something just seemed to be missing in the mix. Missing in the mix. And I had a look at the papers again. And there are actually two documents. Pretty much the same thing. I said, oh. The first one is dated the 8th of September 2015. And the next one is dated the 16th of September 2015. And they're all from the same ministry and all from the same minister. Government of St. Lucia, Ministry of Physical Development, Housing, and Urban Renewal, folks. That's right. Urban renewal. So I said, but what is this all about? So let me read the first one for you. Put the first one up, please. Right. That's what I'm talking about. The first one here is to, on the 8th of September, is to Thaddeus Antoine. TM and Antoine, partners, blah, blah, blah. And it says, read your letter dated August the 26th, 2015. Remember there was all of this argument about they didn't give permission for this and they didn't have anything and it's this government DCA that give approval and is chasné and all of this nonsense. Just like when they sold the Black Bay lands 6 days before elections in 2016 or 2 days before elections, sign an agreement and everything. But because it was registered in this government, they say this government did it. I mean, such nonsense. But we're not going to go back on that too much tonight. So listen to this now. Let's go to the... Can you... Why people have 100-inch screens out there? Uwe! That's right. Oh, Befla. Oh, Horsey. Oh. I write... That's from former Minister Stanley Felix. Me say ni a signature to him, me say. Me say a doctor. But anyway, I write with reference to the above captioned. Please note, pay attention to this little paragraph there, folks. Please note that all developments within the policy area which your proposed development refers to must be developed in accordance with the provisions of the limits of acceptable change as administered by the Development Control Authority. Hold it right there. Listen to that, folks. Must be developed in accordance with the provisions of the LAC, LAC limits of acceptable change. That's for the Piton Management Area, the World Heritage Site Area, as administered by the DCA, the Development Control Authority. I urge you to submit application for consideration at the soonest. So the minister is not saying you're not entitled to, because this person bought the land, 92 acres. So let's go to the next letter. Almost the same thing, as if there was a mistake in the first one. So 8 days later, another one comes out. Basically the same thing. Dear Antoine. Dear Mr. Antoine. Dear Mr. Antoine. Hey, my way. Your proposed, listen to this now, a little more detailed. Your proposed development falls within the Piton Management Area and as such is subject to the rules governing all such lands. Notwithstanding, however, the rules do provide for, listen to this, folks. They're saying is this government, the rules do provide for the construction of one family home on the basis that the developer is a local concern. Now, Horsey, when I read, I was like, what does that mean? Is a local concern? What does a local concern mean? But let's go on still. Note, however, that your design will be subject to the provisions of the limits of acceptable change and the Development Control Authority. So it's not the government giving you permission. Once you qualify, as I said before, folks, once you qualify to build in wherever it is, whether it's on top of Mont Jacques, whether it's on Mont Didon, whether it's in the Piton Management Area, the law says what can be done. So, in reading there, I said, on the basis that the developer is a local concern. Bekisaki local concern la. What does local concern mean? And it means that you have to be a St. Lucian. But a St. Lucian can mean more than one thing. In fact, it means more than just a person. Well, a person, but something that's not a person being considered as a person. And a company registered in St. Lucia, folks, in St. Lucia, is considered to be a local concern. So there Stanley Felix is saying, I doubt you would even say that if you didn't know so, being the Minister of Physical Development, Housing and Urban Renewal, is giving him the hint there that you have to be a local concern, that you should register a company. So, you should register a company, and lo and behold, that's right, folks, lo and behold, if we go to the land register, you know, those of you who've purchased property, land, and you've been to the land registry and all that, you know what the land register is? It shows you all the previous owners and down to who the current owner is, whether the bank has a lien on the property or whatever, or hold or first dibs or whatever you want to call it. So let's go to the land register for that property which was purchased by Mr. Robillard. Land register. There it is, folks. Now look at the lines in the middle that are crossed out. Anytime the property changes possession, they cross it out and the new owner is put at the bottom. But let's look down at the bottom. You see the last one there? It says Mondesi Estates Limited, and that was registered. The date there in the land register is the 16th of February, 2016. Who could that be? I thought the property was owned by Monsieur Robillard. Mondesi Estates Limited, who's that? Monsieur, well, folks, Monsieur Robillard registered a company in the name of Mondesi Estates Limited, because initially when I saw that, I say, but Mondesi, this is still in the people's name order. The man wittingly, in my opinion, to not raise any eyebrows or anything, not that he was doing anything wrong, but to blend into the landscape, you know. And if you want that landscape to be the pitons or anything else, blend, he called the company Mondesi Estates Limited. And the sale was finalized, or it was registered finally, on the 16th of February 2016. Because, of course, remember, well, the story there was a deposit that had been paid, and, you know, kalte bagay, because people wanted to know what the final word was on the property and that they couldn't build and all of that and all of this. You have the files for the registry documents. You have that, the company's registry. You have that? Check that folder. Make sure you get it up there. It's in there. There's one document there. I'll tell you what it is. Folks, you know, live TV, you gotta make sure I have everything for you to see. Yeah, it's in that folder. Mondesi Estates Limited. There are 3 files in there. See that? Right. Just let me know when you're ready for me. I like to present the evidence. I'm not skimping, folks. Giving you everything so you can see for yourself. Have to keep it real. You ready? All right. Give me number 1, please. Throw it up there. Number 1, folks. And number 1, zoom in the 100-inch screeners at Lance Road. They have a 100-inch screen over there. Okay. You see it says name of company, Mondesi Estates Limited. And look at the year it was formed, 2015. Now let's scroll down. Let's scroll down. Down. Yeah, up. Remember. Let's keep going. Get the pertinent part. Oh, it's not there? Away. Okay. Scroll up a little bit. Up. Yeah, up. Go up a little. No, the other way. Right. You see there? The directors of the company as of this date are, whose name you see there? Oh, Jeffrey Robillard. And his mailing address is care of T.M. Antoine Partners, 4 Bridge Street at that time. And his occupation is a businessman. And the date? 11th February 2015. All of this was happening when? When did he get permission as an approved developer? Do your homework, folks. Do your homework. And let's see, let's round it off. Let's see the official Number 3, Certificate of Incorporation, Mondesi Estates Limited. Mondesi Estates Limited. Huh? There you are. Company number 2015/C083. I keep it real with you all, folks. I keep it real. So, let's go now to the lack. Okay, yeah. The lack. I give you everything. Let's go to page 1. LAC page number 1. So you can see it's the report. Limits of Acceptable Change Study for the Pitons Management Area World Heritage Site. Now I want you to go to page 60. Is that what it is? Page 60? Go to the next page that I have there. And let's see the highlighted portion of the LAC. All right, come down now. Come down, selector. Bring it down. Ma, come down, ma. I tell you, come down, ma. Bring it down. Bring it down, ma. 11.2, policy area number 1. That's where the property is, folks. Go Piton, Piti Piton, and the Ridge. No development will be allowed in this zone except. So it doesn't say development is not allowed. It says there will be none, but is a conjunction. And it gives you the conditions under which there shall be or can be or may be development. Works to improve existing trails, minor signage, and interpretation on Go Piton. You know your direction a little hot, you can get directions and you can get, you know, flyers, pamphlets about the Piton area, blah, blah, blah. Removal of the ad hoc beach facilities and establishment of low-key sustainable beach facilities set back within the flat area of plantation to the rear of the beach. Now listen to the highlighted portion. A small amount of non-tourism based residential accommodation for local people. You see the word local? Local. Mondesi Estates Limited is local. Say that word, folks. Local. L-O-C-A-L. It doesn't mean low calories. It means local. Right? A small amount of non-tourism based residential accommodation for local people may be permitted on private land within the base of the valley. Any proposal will, listen to this, any proposal will need to satisfy the LAC limits of acceptable change criteria, including non-impact of important views and non-impact on the fragile flora and fauna. That is, development must be fully compliant with the limits of acceptable change and design guide for the PMA World Heritage Site. That was in the LAC before 2016. So the DCA has to be guided by this. So it's not Mr. Clembaum that decided he's going to do it. It's not the Prime Minister. It's not the government. The law is there. But you know, some people want to prey. Want to prey on your lack of information because you're not involved. How many people would know this? How many people knew this before? I didn't know it before. There was no need to find out about this. You live in Cap Estate, you live in Viewport, you live in Dennery. Oh, you care about lack? What do you care about lack? But you see, keeping it real is here, folks, to clear things up for you. That's right. We're going to take our next break, and we'll be right back. We're going to take the calls during the next segment, folks, give you an opportunity to talk on things. But, you know, we're going to talk about it. Back after the break.
I feel So good. I got to you. Wow. I feel nothing. To the spot.
To experience the benefits of a tropical solar water heating system, call 453-1868 in Castries or 454-6344 in Vieux.
Yes, catch the first news from 7:15 only on channel 117. St. Lucia, Hot 7 TV was the first to bring you a full HD newscast. Now, here's another first. The Hot 7 Nightly News is now your first newscast for the evening in St. Lucia. You heard right. The Hot 7 Nightly News is now at 7:15. Yes, tune in at 6:45 p.m. and be the first to catch the latest happenings in your world. On the run, watch us on your cell phone or tablet via the Caribbean Hot FM app. Trusted objective journalism from our diligent news team. Fresh. Get it hot. The Hot 7 Nightly News. Now at 7:15. Watch us on channel 117 on Flow, channel 7 Plug and Play, or follow us on Facebook Live on Caribbean Hot 7 TV.
Welcome back, folks. Welcome back to this segment. Now, remember there was all the talk about incentive and who incentivized the property down there and by giving approved developer status, and why would anybody spend all of that money just to look at it? And this letter here from Stanley Felix sounds like a guidance, and this is how you do it, and these are everything there. So clearly, approved developer status was given by Dr. Kenny Anthony and the SLP government back then because they knew very well that the law allowed the possibility of development there. Is plain and simple. Plain and simple, as you saw in the LAC guidelines, and exactly who it says will apply the guidelines from the LAC, the DCA. The DCA is not making up the law. Mr. Clem Bob's not making up the law. But some people, they want to mama guy, they want to malmene or sevel, as if you coco loco. The people of St. Lucia, not dotish. But you know what? You know what, folks? All of those who've been trying to hoodwink the people of St. Lucia, who've been wanting to apply, and you know them if you know them from your neighborhood or wherever, on your job, all of them, they know exactly what they plan. We're going to flush them, and I'm going to flush all of them for you tonight. Flush them! Flush them! Flush them again. A lot of water these days. Like we bleach other in. Let them bleach other in. So I want to show you now. We're going to move ahead now. I'm going to move ahead because when you finish flush, you leave. You don't hang around. I'm going to go now to a visit that Prime Minister Alan Shastney had today of the respiratory hospital, which is just about complete. It's in operation, and he went to let his eyes cook his peas about what's going on there, because you know we've had a few extra number of new cases, and there are 2 new cases today. Those of you who didn't know, press release came out earlier this evening, sometime I think after 5, 6 o'clock. 2 new cases. So we're now at what? 68, 69? You're supposed to be telling me those things in there. You know, I can't do everything around here. So let's see the photos of Prime Minister Alan Shastney with all the engineers, the engine fuzz, and all the people, you know, at Old Victoria Hospital. This is the part of which is called the respiratory hospital now, which will be completed in the next few days, within the next week, so that we're all ready in case we need to have it. Something about 80-something rooms or something of the sort. And let's see the other photos. That's right. I think they have to start painting tomorrow or something. What's the day? Well, yeah, tomorrow, and they're going to finish all of that. Look, that's the inside. That's the former pediatrics upstairs there. And they've actually built, retrofitted that place. Quite a number of rooms up there. And let's see the others. Let's keep going. There you go. Going back. That's it. We're done there with those. I send you all some photos there. You're sabotaging me again, man. Okay. And let's have a look at the floor plan so you can see of what the hospital looks like. And if you look at the top of that diagram there, you see you see a little round thing up there. Zoom in 100-inch only. You're not making use of all the full screen that people have. They're not getting value for money. You see what it says there? Vehicle decontamination area. So whether it's a transport or somebody comes there in that or whatever it is, that's where the vehicle gets decontaminated. Kisayo nilapu spray. Must have, maybe Alva knows what's there. Give Alva a call there for me there, please. Give him a shout.
Alva!
Call him again.
Alva!
That's right, because remember some time ago, folks, in talking about St. Jude's Hospital, he said, man, that place was ready, man. All you had to do was get some chemical and clean out the place. So I don't know whether they're going to be cleaning out the vehicles at the back there, the decontamination zone with chemical. But you can see the different areas of the hospital, where the beds are, where the ICU is, and have a look for yourself, folks. Just scroll nice and slow. Those of you who remember the Old Victoria Hospital, go down to the bottom. Let me give them some perspective there. You see that arrow that's coming down from the main gate. So it says uphill. And then you walk under that section, make a left. You see the parking in green there. So now we're going up, like you're walking from the road. Right? You see those two covered walkways there? Those of you remember this walkway between the two wings, where the x-ray was on the left there. Radiology, away, kuma. Upper level will be a 12-bed unit, away. Kitchen, away. Tut baila, mi plan, mi lila. And if you look to the right, there's even the other building on the other side there. Come shamkila too. Come kush. Right? So this has been well thought out and getting ready. But some people will say St. Lucia is the worst prepared. Worst prepared. You know? That doesn't seem like worst prepared to me, folks. St. Lucia was at the front, at the forefront. Previously, at the start of this, and now with the second wave, St. Lucia is at the forefront again. And one thing I want to put out there, the protocols have worked. It's for travelers coming in, visitors, residents. The quarantine procedures have worked. And even in this now, when we get people who've tested positive, all of those, folks, all of those who are being tested recently and coming up positive in this second wave, guess what? Since number 29, contacts. So the contact tracing is, even now that we have here, the contact tracing is working. And the measures and the speed with which they're working and putting these people into quarantine. All of those today were from quarantine. All of the 6 yesterday was from quarantine. The 9 was from quarantine. The others, 2 days before, they were already in quarantine. We're not doing something right? I think we're doing a hell of a job. Man, I ain't going to repeat the nonsense from that fool. But you know, I want to say something. When I tell you, and when you hear that there are some people out there who are hell-bent to sabotage the image of St. Lucia, People talking about, oh, they have more than they're telling you, that they have this there and this place and all of that. At that hotel and all kind of nonsense. And the people who believe this nonsense. And these people, they're not professionals in anything, you know. They can't even walk and chew gum at the same time. But there are people out there who will listen to the foolishness from these guys. Ça pas COVID, hein? Jusqu'à parler trop. They will listen to the nonsense. So much so. You see, this social media, people monitor, you know. The press outside monitors, they monitor social media. The same way you do, you monitor your friend's page. CNN and all other news agencies, they monitor Alan Chastain's page. They monitor the leader of the opposition or the SLP's page or the UWP page. That's where you get information from. A long time ago, you needed to have correspondents all over the world. Now, tutbay munka meti asu social media, Instagram, Facebook. So they get a very good idea of what's going on, and then you can further ask questions. But you will not believe, folks, the number of calls that are coming in to the Ministry of Health and to the CMO from international agencies, and they're asking whether there is an outbreak in St. Lucia and the government is covering it up because of the nonsense that these jokers, these losers, these failures are putting out there. And those of them who are quiet and tacitly endorsing the nonsense. But you know the irony of it again, the irony. The same people who are talking about the state of emergency and curfews and free up the place and everything. Let me see Fat Boy there laughing there for me, please. Because this is a joke. I mean, it is a farce. The same people who are complaining about the curfew, the same people who are talking about the state of emergency, according to George Bush, those evildoers. The same people who say we don't need no COVID bill, who say we don't need state of emergency, who say it's infringing on people's rights. Apres yo tout ka hele, we on the to amun positive. Oh, we need to bring back the curfew. We need to close the restaurants earlier. Apres azot pe. Now you're scared. You see the hypocrisy? But you must not forget, you must remember when they said the alcohol, people need alcohol, man, free up the alcohol, free up the alcohol. And when they decided, mischief makers, when they decided to lift the ban, to lift the suspension on the sale of alcohol, you know what they said? What Joachim Henry said and others? Or if they want to make St. Lucians alcoholics for Mother's Day. You see what I'm telling you, folks? You see? Ah, man. But anyway, I have photos for you. I have quite a few photos for you. Remember? St. Jude's, yeah. But it's not the St. Jude's photos you anticipated. We're ready to open up the lines. Open the lines, man. 450-0777. We're going to take some calls. We're going to take about 2 hours of calls tonight. Don't laugh in there, man. 2 hours of calls tonight. 450-0777. Right, numbers up. But let's see what's happening now. It's not the same old St. Jude's photos. We're now entering phase 2, folks. And it's the cladding. What's going up on the outside, and you're going to see it pretty soon in the next show or 2 shows. Gonna be fantastic. But now the material is here. They've imported all the stuff, and the guys are working in a gigantic mammoth behemoth of a warehouse. Let's see the photos. Let's see the photos. That's it, folks. You see? They're putting together the cladding. That's what's going on the outside. It's going on the outside. Pasi mo etutikalte baisa. Right there. They're building the, if you want to say, they're actually building the walls inside. You can call it prefab if you want. It's called cladding. Right? And that is what's going on to be put on the outside. That's going to be the outer shell. Se bugla ka to avay vit la tou, la ou yo komanse mette sa. Ou a siwe se superhero squid la. Next one. There it is, folks. It's all being fabricated in that warehouse space. And then it's going to be put up. Gonna be blazing. We have a call. Good night. Keep going with the photos. Good night. You're on the air. Let's keep it real.
I keeping it real. Good night to you, sir, man.
Good night.
You talk like a real bitch. So you must be living by
Man, look, don't try and look for no trouble. You hear me here tonight, you know, man.
You talk like a real bitch tonight,
man, look, man, I'm a barber Lucian.
I just love your program.
Thank you very much, man.
Yeah, and I just want to tell you that you're nothing easy.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thanks for keeping it real. I sound like a real Barbadian, man. A real Barbadian calling the show tonight. Where you calling from? I should ask if he calling from Barbados. Man, I know they're watching it over there, man. Let's go with the photos. Let the people see. 450-0777. That's right. We have another call. Good night. You're on the air. Let's keep it real.
No, be.
Bonsoir.
This is Alva, returning your call.
Oh, that's not Alpha at all.
Oh.
Here
All right, Norbert. Good night.
Good evening. How are you? Oh. I'm sure you're voting for Stevenson King. I'm sure this guy's gonna vote for King. Sound like that. You missed that one on me. You bail out on me there tonight? Well, nothing. Flush him then. Flush him. That's what he deserves. A little too far from the flush house. Flush him away. That's right. Is this guy voting for King?
Your auntie is fucking. Your mother is fucking. Your father is fucking. You alone is fucking. Your uncle is fucking. Your brother is fucking. Your sister is fucking. Why are you not fucking?
That's right. Vote for King. That's what you need to do. Vote for King. But you see some of them going mad because they can't deal with the facts. 450-0777. Lucky sevens all the way at the end there. But folks, you see the kind of calls. Who paid for the credit on that phone to call the show? If you call in, call with something of substance. We're discussing some very serious issues here tonight. We're talking about COVID. We're talking about issues that are pertinent to the people of St. Lucia. But you know, you're going to stay up at this time of the night and call, talk absolute nonsense. Nothing of any consequence. Nothing at all. Nada. Waste of time. There's a word that starts in, you know, St. Lucians have a way of really colorfully dealing with you. That's right. 450-0777. Don't chat with the people on the line. Just pass them over. They're talking. Tell their girlfriend to call you now. I don't know what's going on inside there. They're chatting. But we still have some more photos from St. Jude, the factory construction there, the fabrication of the cladding. Let's go to that. Let the people see. Keep it going. That's right. We're keeping it real with them tonight. Let's go. Let's go to the next one. You see them everywhere. All the materials are being assembled there, and it's called cladding. It's being put on the outside. So when you see this phase starts, well, it has started, but once they start to put that up, it's going to be flying. That's right. Look at it there, folks. It's going to be put up like panels. Oh, the line has a problem. I got a message there. You want to reboot that thing there? There's a problem with the line. People are trying to call in there. So we'll keep going with the photos, folks, whilst we get that rectified. I don't know if this guy is trying to leave early on time because I said 2 hours for calls. He just all of a sudden sabotaged the line. You know, that's not right. Hey, look at that, folks. Look at that. Look at that. Let's have a look. The cladding being fabricated, being put together. You see, it looks like aluminum members. That's what they call it. Aluminum frame. And then you put the sheet rock or whatever it is. Kisai masav. Kisai yokakue. Okay. Somebody says that it's ringing, but you're not picking up. Well, just the longer it stays off. Okay, we're back in now. We're back in. Okay. Good night. You're on the air. Let's keep it real.
Keep it real. Good night.
Good night, sir.
It seems that Elvin said they want to sabotage the line tonight.
Well, I don't know. I was just about getting up to go in there.
Okay.
But, you know, when they get that look from me, they know they got to get things straight.
I want to keep it real.
Yes.
Yes. You see, in the country, you must understand what's happening in this country.
Tell me.
This country is a set of political, extravaganza going on.
I like that word, caller. I like that. Political extravaganza.
Extravaganza.
Is that what the match game was? A political extravaganza?
That's what it is.
Okay.
Yes. When you look at it in this country, we are lack of a lot of knowledge and etiquette and illiteracy.
Yeah.
And that is what's keeping back this country from moving forward. We must understand as St. Lucians, we have not understand, and I don't think that we really convince ourselves as typical St. Lucians, a nation that's supposed to be educated in this time that we are living. And when I look at as a St. Lucian, typically my people or my St. Lucian people, I don't think we are really understanding what's happening in this coronavirus. I don't think we are really convinced about it. And you see, unless we cannot take out politics or what you call party politics in our life, we will not understand nothing, not even ourselves. Because when I look at it, I remember in the time of George Odlum and so Melvin John Compton. All right, when we look at it. And if we had all those experience, if those two men, we should understand what is politics and how we have to live politics and take care of ourselves, our own and our country after party politics finish. Because that refers me back when George Odlum used to lament, towards St. Lucians to educate themselves politically. But he never seems to understand it. So, and when we from there, you have today this same George Odlum that bringing this gentleman, Kenny Anthony, I will call him nothing else but Kenny Anthony, which I know him very well, on the party from Trinidad and Tobago, he and Earl Busquet, all right, when they were run out from Guyana. And from Guyana, they went to Grenada. Soon before the coup in Grenada, they ran to Trinidad, and that's where they came down because George Odlum called him down to take the leadership of the party because of the era between when Compton used to say that George Odlum is communist. It was just a political mileage. And so the people were so, messed up. They believed that. All right. They want George to rule, but they don't want him to be prime minister. When George said enough of that, then he called Kenny Anthony down to give him prime ministership. And that happened on VG Field in that time. We were so happy about it to see a young, talented, young, attractive man going to be our prime minister in that day there. I myself enjoyed it so much because I was on the line automatically. But when you look at it, when things go down the line.
How many years after?
Yes. Thank you for correction. Everything overturned against George Odlum. Same as George Odlum that struggle for this Labour Party today. All right, and he was kicked off from House of Parliament because that he used to tell Kenny Anthony the way that he's going is not right. It's the poor people who form government, not the so-called little bourgeois we have or rich people. It's the people that's on the ground, the poor people that form governments.
But you remember, caller, sometime in 82, if I remember correctly, 82 or 83, somewhere
around there. Yeah.
When George Odlum stood on that island, the western island in the William Peter Boulevard, near where Simpex was, you know the island?
Yes, I remember.
With John Compton.
Yes.
And he raised his hands, they held hands.
Yes.
And what it was referred to as an unholy alliance.
Yes.
You remember that?
Yes, I remember that. I was there.
Okay. Because because they reached across the divide for unity in St. Lucia. And
it was not about party. It was not about party. It was about the country. The country. And if you understood the time of Fleming passport scandal.
What's his name? What was his first name again?
Dr.
Fleming. Yeah,
the passport scandal.
Yeah, at the UN.
When Compton realized, that what was taking place, that corruption that was taking place under Dr. Fleming, all right, was selling the passports and they couldn't see where the money was going. And that's where it started. And John Compton actually pleaded with George to come and take the position of him. He had him to resign from the position. And George becomes the ambassador to the UN. All right. I was working at the Odlum place at the time when he called him over. But he asked his father, should he go? His father says, for your country, it's not for politics.
You got 30 seconds, caller.
Pardon?
You got 30 seconds.
Yes. Okay. But I really want to say, I couldn't get to, as the time coming, I can't get to the exactly what I was coming with. But you see, the Labour Party always have a bad reputation about, what you call criticizing everything.
Absolutely.
And that's why George Odlum had to leave them and gone from the umbrella, because he was the PLP at the time, becomes PLP.
Progressive Labour Party.
Yes, Progressive Labour Party. And you see, if we St. Lucians really look at it, I don't see the reason why we have to be so interested as St. Lucians. And we know that. We know the criminality about the Labour Party. It hasn't got a good reputation at no time at all. Because you're going to tell me in a time like this, you're criticizing. And you know why they're quiet today?
Because they had to eat all the woods. They had to eat everything that they said.
The church had to come behind them and tell them to give the lady a chance. That lady that
talking about that. Thanks for reminding me.
Yes.
Okay, caller.
Yes. Okay.
That's
but sometimes
thank you very much. Again. Thanks for keeping it real. Call again next time.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, folks. The thing about the Prime Minister saying the CMO is the best ever. Folks, what does that mean? It's not a statement about anybody before. It's just a statement of satisfaction with the work somebody's doing. We all do it ourselves. Oh, you're the best ever. Means that you're so good, you're doing such a good job, you deserve to be the best. But of course, the usual hackerlacks and the satellites out there will twist it and malmeny or sevel and try to talk about that and try to ridicule it and say, well, this person is the best too, and that person is the best. Salty, that's what y'all are. Good night, you're on the air. Let's keep it real.
Hello.
Good night.
Good night.
You're on the air. Let's keep it real.
Yes, Norbert.
Hi, good night, sir. Make out that voice. Honorable Guy Joseph, Parliamentary Representative for Castries Southeast.
Once again, very good show.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Norbert, I have made a few pronouncements myself or statements that we need to pay attention to what is happening to our country. And Labour Party always claims St. Lucia as their country. But when they claim St. Lucia, they want to take back their country as if they are the only one who have the right to govern in this country. Now, there's something fundamentally wrong with this present Labour Party.
They've lost their way.
And those who know old labor, and these men who went through the struggles to cause the Labour Party to be what it was at the time. And one such person is the Governor General. And I've had several discussions with the Governor General about this. And look at the hatred of the present Labour Party towards the Governor General. Look at the hatred that was there towards George Odlum, as the caller highlighted. St. Lucians, as St. Lucian, and I supported the Labour Party in 1997. And I can tell you that was a big mistake. So I'm not like the people who have been on one political side and have not had the opportunity to evaluate it on both sides. If you look at what has happened in St. Lucia in the last few days, with the attacks on the CMO, somebody who has done so much, we are politicians. We expect to be attacked by politicians.
Yeah.
We expect to be called into question what we have done. I have called into question what public servants have done in the past, but I don't call into question what public servants do for political reasons. If you play politics, but for somebody to look at the remarkable work that has been done by the Department of Health, the Minister of Health, and more so the CMO, and to turn around and want to criticize. And I'm telling you, all of this stems from the Labour Party. They disguise into different forms, but they find a way to go after people. And I've said to St. Lucian, the Labour Party does not want anything that is good for St. Lucia. Nothing that is beneficial for the country, they are not going to support it. You remember what happened with the NIC today?
Yeah.
At the time, it was National Provident Fund.
That's right.
When they accused Sir John
Trying
of
to
wanting
thief your money.
to take the people's money.
Yeah.
You remember what happened to the banana industry with the coupe pa coupe?
That's
when
right.
they burned banana sheds and chopped down banana fields, destroyed the banana industry. Yeah. We see what is happening in a COVID situation. You have a CMO who the world is looking up to try and find out what is it that we have been able to do. We have a prime minister who has shown remarkable leadership.
Absolutely.
In the midst of not having any previous record anywhere else to follow, and to have come out the way that we did. Rather than the Labour Party giving credit where credit is due, you go into attack, you have all your operatives. I mean, you go into listen to people like Shazi and these people. These people are like, when Alva talks about leeches, they have some people who all they can do is live off the government. And it is unfortunate. And we as St. Lucians have a responsibility that to understand when things are good, the Labour Party is going to oppose it. So to have had a protest march in the midst of COVID, it means that they don't care how many St. Lucians die from COVID.
That's right.
They don't care how many St. Lucians will suffer in isolation and at the hospital as a result of COVID.
With nobody around.
They do not care if you live or if you die once it is the path for them getting into government. Because what was the use of the match? You mean that this match is what is going to propel Philip J. Pierre into
well said.
being the Prime Minister
Well said.
of St. Lucia? I mean, of what value? You have the Labour Party. I mean, the candidate they have for in my constituency. You know, the man could not even keep a seat in the Senate after he lost the election. He loses his Senate seat, but he goes and there's a little dance hall in the area. And he calls a public, in the midst of, last week, you know, he calls a public meeting inviting the community to come into a small hall, dance hall, to have meetings to try and convince people to vote for him. Are these people for real? Are they serious about the well-being of the people of St. Lucia? And these are the people we want, or people are considering to put in charge of the affairs of this country. Pierre have to be sick mentally to have called a meeting. And I think that he needs a psychiatric evaluation. Because when I heard Philip J. Pierre, he supports saying that in a press release, did you play that press release last week? He said he supports the measures being undertaken by the government after all of them walked out of the parliament. I mean, any man who is right in his thinking can do something like that.
That's right. That's right.
So I want St. Lucians to open their eyes. And one question you need to ask about that land that was sold in Soufre at the base of the Pito. How close was it to elections when that land was sold? And who collected on behalf of the St. Lucia Labour Party campaign funding from the sale of that property? We need to ask them who did that and who was involved in the process. Because similar to the land that was sold 6 days before election, when Parliament had been dissolved already, Parliament had been prorogued for elections, yet still property was being sold. And the property was not sold to a St. Lucian. So when they talk about who is selling St. Lucia to foreigners, so who sold how many acres they sold at the base of the Pito?
92.
92 acres. Who leased the seabed to a foreigner? 83 million
acres.
Who sold Black Bay and to whom was it sold? So when the Labour Party will come...
How much was it sold per square foot, you recall?
It was sold for on 5 EC dollars, if my memory serves me right, a square foot. Beachfront property. And then, when I did the development in Forestier, you know how much the land was sold for? $9, $10, $11, and $12 a square foot.
Wow.
All the way in Forestier, in the hills there. But at the beachfront, in Black Bay, in Viewfort, you're selling it for $5 or in that region, it may be 5 or 6 EC dollars a square foot. That is what you sell in our beachfront property.
Prime property.
And then today, these same people will call radio stations and go on television programs. And I mean, Norbert, I am very happy with what you are doing in keeping it real. But St. Lucians, we need to keep it real. We need to tell these people to find their place, but not in charge of the affairs of this country. Because to attack the CMO, to attack her credibility, I know this lady is so concerned about the well-being. You know how many meetings I had with the CMO, begging and pleading with her to try and allow the buses to transport the 14 passengers. And you know what? The CMO can tell you, we never tried to override her decision, even if we could as a cabinet. We always took directive from her. And while I would tell her, Madam CMO, I think you're being very hard, on us in dealing with this matter, but I still defer to you because if something happens, I don't want to be in a position where we would say, if we had listened to the CMO. And so said, so done. Where did the spread begin? With the community spread started, as far as we have traced it, with a minibus driver. So can you imagine if the CMO had not held her ground so firm on this, how much worse the situation could have been? And all the attack on the CMO is by the St. Lucia Labour Party or their operatives. There is no question about that. And St. Lucians, when we have good things, we don't appreciate it. Until we miss it, we have a good CMO, we need to give her the support so that she can have the courage and the desire.
They're telling me, sir, the phone lines are burning up over there.
To sacrifice. Thank you, Norbert.
Thank you very much.
I wish the CMO all the best and do not be discouraged by the operatives.
I'm sure the majority of St. Lucians do. Thank you for keeping it real. Once again, Honorable Guy Joseph, Minister for Castries Southeast, keeping it real again tonight. We have another call. Good night, you're on the line. Good night.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, good evening.
How you doing? Mr. Moderator, I got a couple of questions to ask. Mr. T.O. King had an interview about a month ago.
Call, I'm not hearing you. Okay, we have another call? Yeah, okay. All right, we have another call coming in. Something's wrong with that line there. Okay, ready? Okay, good night, you're on the air. Let's keep it real.
Hi, good night, Norbert.
Good night, sir.
I want to ask a question concerning the two letters from Minister Felix that you showed earlier.
Yes.
It seems the second letter was written on the advice of a lawyer.
Okay. I have both of them here.
Yeah. The second paragraph of the second letter, I think is the first line.
Yeah.
There's a word that seemed to have given the guy who was purchasing the land permission once he had formed a local company.
Right.
And Mr. Felix did not have that in his first letter.
That's right. That's right. He did not. That's exactly right.
So I was very interested, and I wonder who caused him to change his mind and write that second letter to give this guy permission.
Yeah.
And Guy Joseph was right on point, because I have been in that game, as you know, even before Guy.
That's right.
And you have to mark very closely and carefully when these transactions are taking place.
Yeah.
Because this is how people make money to contest elections. And you see, with all these brilliant lawyers we have had, nobody has tackled election financing laws for St. Lucia.
That's right.
Because they have their way of doing it.
That's right.
And keeping it away from the public view.
Right.
So these are things that we have to mark very closely. And the last point I want to make is something has to be done, but we know what the problems are. That is not my concern. That is an easy thing to know what the problems are. My thing has always been, what do you do about it as a government? What do you do about people who spread false information knowing that
That's a good one. That's a good one, caller. And we heard quite a bit of that this week.
And tomorrow, God willing, I will be on the show with Sir Michael and Champagne.
Yeah.
And I'm spending the whole of that time, as I'm concerned, on what should we do. And I want the callers tomorrow to speak to that issue. Because that stupidness cannot continue.
Caller, deliberately, and if I am to mention, I recognize the voice, and I doubt.
Yeah, but I've told you about tomorrow as well. Tomorrow is Wednesday. I'll be with Sir Michael and Champagne, so
Right,
you know who is speaking.
Former Minister of Government, this is Mr. Peter Josie here.
Yeah,
Minister
that's
of
me.
Agriculture.
So I want to know what St. Lucians are prepared to do about this, because that cannot continue.
And it is not accidental, caller. It is deliberate and malicious.
I remember reading in the law book, criminal law. You can't shout fire in a packed theater hall.
That's right.
And you are a policeman, I'm sure you know about this. There are certain circumstances and situations where you just have to be more careful, and I think the people who are doing that know what they're doing is not good.
Right.
And they're doing
That's why they're doing it.
They're doing it, hopefully they think that it make the government look bad. But they're so short-sighted. If you break down the country, you never work when you're in office. How the hell will you fix it up if the people vote for you at the next election?
And what will you inherit? The fruits of your labor, of your sabotage? No pun intended there. Fruits of your labor.
Anyway, let's leave that alone. But that is something that the people of St. Lucia must think about.
Yeah.
This is a serious business. And you know something? In the first 28 days, the first 7 months, we had 28 cases, I think, of coronavirus.
Right. After
in
the
St.
March,
Lucia.
how many did we have?
In less than a month.
2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks.
I said in less than a month. Okay, in 3 weeks, we have had almost that number. How many you have had?
We've had more than
26?
that number. We at 68, 69 now.
So you take out, you minus 28 from 69?
30. That's, just about the same. In 3
No,
weeks, we had the
it's a
total
lot more.
amount that
in
we
In 2 weeks'
7
time,
months.
we have had more cases than we had for the first 7 months.
That's right.
So what does that tell you? We have local spread, and where did the local spread come from?
Caller.
We are making as if we are little children, we are, as Trump called people like Haiti and Nigeria and Africa, as if we are asshole countries. We are better than that. We are smarter than that. So we shouldn't play stupid or let people put stupidness in our ears.
Yeah. And tomorrow, Mr. Josie and Sir Michael Chasney will be on Sky FM 93.1.
And we have to be resolute when we're making these decisions.
Yeah.
If you're not prepared to take strong decisions when you're in government, you shouldn't be in politics. You should not be. Because this country sometimes needs strong medicine.
That's right.
And you have to be prepared to administer that medicine.
To get rid of the worms, we need some Antipa.
Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Thank
sir.
you. You
Thanks
have a
for
good night,
calling.
my friend. I'll
Have
see
a
you
good
tomorrow,
night.
God willing.
Thanks for keeping it real. 450-0777. We have another hour to go. We have a call. He's laughing at the back there. We have another call. Swing it over. 450-0777. Good night. You're on the air. Let's keep it real.
Mr. William, good night.
Bonsoir.
Comment ça va?
Ah, très bien, monsieur. À nous parler. Fais vite, hein, puis nous parlons trop de temps.
Oui, moi ça va. Mr. William.
Avant de vous deux choses en l'air, moi.
Okay, Mr. William.
Yes.
If you do not have a plan and you do not have a vision for what you want to do, what you believe that you will do to get to your destination?
Anything.
Anything. Exactly. Is either you kill, either you steal, either you destroy. You have to do something to get to your destination.
That's what you call it. That's what you call desperation.
Exactly.
Desperation. Chagrin pouvoir.
Yeah. Chagrin pouvoir, c'est en français. Okay. I mean, and this is what happening to the current Labour Party. They desperately want power. So therefore, they don't care who they kill in the process, who they trample on in the process, but they're so hungry and desperate.
And caller, just to get it right here, being reckless with COVID can lead to the death of people.
That is exactly what it is.
Because COVID kills.
Yeah, but that's what we are saying here. Because they're saying that something. After the match, they will come with COVID. But Mr. Pierre, come on. is after COVID, less than 2 weeks. After the match, less than 2 weeks, you have so many people infected.
Caller, you know one thing they're talking about. Oh, the bus driver was not the one. He was not contracted. So what? La pour faire. People, you're telling me on a day when so many people are expected to be up and about, that if someone was not contracted to render their services, that they would still not see the opportunity to make money and transport people? You tell me that there were no vendors by the side of the road? You tell me that people just like New Year's or Carnival don't take the opportunity to come out where you have such a crowd. People want water. People were selling water. There were vendors. People were selling peanuts. They were selling icicles. They were selling fried chicken, everything.
They were selling alcohol and everything. So therefore, I do not want, right now, to be honest, these guys is so desperate that they will do anything to try and get themselves in power. That is something that they can never gain in St. Lucia again. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you very much. Thanks for keeping it real. Okay, we got another call. Okay, yeah. Okay, he's smiling again. Don't tell them, don't call during the show. After the show, they can call you. We have another call. Hand it over. We're ready? Good night. You're on the air. Let's keep it real. Good night. Hello. Okay.
Hello.
Good night. You're on the air.
Yes, Mr. Norbert.
Good night.
I like your show. I enjoy your show.
Thank you very much. Try and make it quick. I call. I'll give you 1 minute because we're almost out of time.
No problem.
Okay.
What I have to say, like, both parties criticizing one another, right? And I notice if somebody not on your side, you cut them off. You have to keep it real. Let them say their view. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks for keeping it real. And we'll take 2 more calls, I think. We'll take 2 more calls. We got a few minutes left on the show. Good night. Okay, we got another one here. Okay, good night. You're on the air. Let's keep it real. Hello? Hello? Okay, nothing there. We lost that one. Good night. You're on the air. Let's keep it real.
Hi, Norbert.
Yes, good night.
Nice style, looking very sharp tonight.
Oh, thank you very much.
Norbert, I want to make a substantive point. Before I make that point, I just want to endorse what the Honorable Guy Joseph says about the Labour Party.
Yeah.
And the fact that they believe that they alone are entitled to hold political power in St. Lucia. And there's this attitude of they alone are patriots and everybody else who doesn't support the Labour Party or who supports the Honorable Alan Chasney are not patriots or not patriotic St. Lucians.
Political elitists.
Yes. Is this kind of snobbery, like they alone are entitled and everybody else are ignorant or stupid? So, yeah. And I also want to add to the point he was making about the Labour Party not supporting the National Provident Fund. It's not only that. There have been so many other projects, so many other programs in the UWP that the Labour Party has fought against. They fought against independence. They fought against the building of the causeway. They fought against the Point Seraphine. They fought against the Rodney Bay Marina. Development after development after development, the Labour Party has fought against in St. Lucia. So I always say, thank God Sir John held to his guns and kept his focus and developed St. Lucia despite the noise the Labour Party makes. Because where would St. Lucia be today if Sir John had heeded to all the criticisms? Anyway,
absolutely.
That's not my substantive point. My point was, no, but
okay, caller, I have to give you 1 more minute, and we're very tight on the time.
Yeah, for sure.
Just to let you know.
For sure. No, but I'm surprised it was disclosed today that Barbados has extended their state of emergency, and the fact that St. Kitts is implementing a very same title as our COVID bill. I would like to see the clauses and so on and see if it's exactly the same. But it's amazing that Barbados and St. Kitts have implemented the very same thing that we have been doing. And St. Lucians have been jumping and screaming, oh my God, they extended the state of emergency. Oh my God, it's draconian bill. when clearly islands in the Caribbean, including Barbados, including near Motley, have looked to St. Lucia as examples and templates on which to follow in the management of COVID.
And St.
This is
Kitts
not the
is
first
following in
time
our
Barbados is
footsteps.
doing. This is not the first time. But no, but I want to say one last thing quickly. Where we are today, the increasing number of cases, you know, I am disappointed in the Labour Party because at a time, Labour Party is always restless in opposition, but at a time when we say Lucia needed a unified message on COVID, when opposition and government needed to stand together and tell St. Lucians the seriousness of this, what did they do? They undermined the CMO, they undermined the messaging from the government, they undermined the government at every single turn. They have the biggest mass protest, quote unquote, in the history of St. Lucia, bringing thousands of people together in the middle of a global pandemic, undermining the efforts of the government at
everything that had been done.
Their operatives made COVID seem like a hoax, you know, as if we were joking around at this. The recordings of Philip Pierre and the statements he's made on COVID, all of that has come back to haunt them right now, the numbers. It has come back to haunt them. They have to eat their words on what is happening. And I blame the Labour Party for not taking it seriously, for playing politics with this thing called COVID. There are things you could play politics with, but not on the lives of St. Lucian.
Well, I just got a message here that the opposition is having a watch party, and they're watching Keeping It Real tonight. Call, I'll give you 30 more seconds.
I hope they got a message. Stop playing politics with the lives of St. Lucians. Get on board with the government. This is time for a unified message and a unified call to action. Cooperate with the government, because what the government is doing, the protocols are meant to keep St. Lucia and St. Lucians safe.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Norbert. Have a good
Thank you
night.
very much. Thanks for keeping it real. Thank you very much. Folks, we're going to take a call or two more. In fact, I have a message here that says Prime Minister Alan Chasney is trying to call into the show, and we have another minister who's trying to call in as well. Prime Minister Alan Chasney, is he on the line? He's on. Okay, we have Minister Dominic Fede, Minister of Tourism and the parliamentary representative for ancillary canneries. Good night, sir. Thanks for keeping it real.
Norbert.
Good night.
Good night, Norbert. How are you?
Good night, sir. I'm doing great.
Very good show.
Thank you. Let's keep it real.
Yes. I just want to use your forum very quickly, because I know you're running out of time, to inform your viewers that we had a really good day today in the tourism sector, where Thomson Airline, operated by TUI, has actually landed in St. Lucia. And it is the first time or the first scheduled long-haul flight that has come in since the resumption of travel. So therefore, what is happening is that this is going to be a tremendous boost for the industry. So St. Lucia really becoming the first and only long-haul destination today to have been served by Thomson Airline.
Wow.
And a little later, we're going to have another flight from Manchester with the same carrier, which didn't exist before. So we're seeing with COVID, and as we manage our COVID public health response very well, what it is yielding are significant opportunities, unprecedented opportunities that didn't exist. So we are truly, truly flattered and delighted by this, and I'm really, really heartened.
And
we continue to work very hard, Norbert, to see how we could keep the people of St. Lucia safe. We're enforcing the protocols really, really strong. But it's a balancing act between the livelihoods of our people and also to preserve their lives. You would know that about 80% of our hotels have reopened. And what has also happened is that we've got some 5,000 individuals back at work. So this is really a big deal for our country and for our response as we look at the economic recovery phase of COVID-19. So I'm truly, truly delighted. And we have to continue to push on. And, you know, the strides we have made so far are just nothing short of remarkable since the reopening of COVID. So to have 5,000 jobs back in the industry so early in the game is really something that is an inspiration.
Great, great. I'm sure these people are quite happy, especially with the Christmas and the holiday season coming up upon us.
Oh, yes. I mean, it makes it easier because we have 5,000 people less that were on the breadline.
That's right.
And that is absolutely critical. So this is a significant development, Norbert, and I am really happy that it's trending in that direction. The demand for St. Lucia continues to be very strong, despite all of the limitations that are taking place now in travel. And, you know, we're so happy. But I think the point is this, Norbert, is that phase one, which is the public health management of COVID-19, St. Lucia has done this exceptionally and stands out among countries in the Caribbean and Latin America and even countries in the world.
And the world.
We're certainly within the top 20 in the world for COVID-19 response and number one in the Western Hemisphere. And so I believe that too much is at stake for us to now allow all of the progress we have made to be retarded. And so it is absolutely critical that we work with the health professionals, that we help each other by doing a bit more, wearing a mask, enforcing all of the various protocols which the health officials have put in place for us. And I think that once we do that, then I think we will get over this current situation that we're currently going through. I was very pleased to have learned, reports I've received suggested that whilst the current outbreak is tremendous cause for concern, but I'm very happy now that most of those individuals who have been recorded as cases were in quarantine and the contact tracing was able to link them. So it shows that our health authorities are on. That's correct. And they're on top of the game.
Well, I'll tell you something, Mr. Minister. As you talk about quarantine, I just got a message here that says, I mean, the most popular show and becoming more so every episode, the Minister of Health is trying to call in now, and she says that you're tying up the line, so she's going to have to deal with you.
Well, I better get off the line, and I will defer to the Minister of Health on matters of health. So thank you, Norbert.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
All the best to you. You continue to do a great job. My constituents love you. I must tell all of St. Lucia that you have a very strong Canaries link.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you very much for keeping it real, sir. Thanks for calling.
Thank you, Norbert.
Right. Folks, I said to you that, you know, they're going to call. You don't have to be ashamed. We'll keep it real. Opposition, you can call in too. But we have a call on the line. Yes, we do. Okay. Good night. You're on the air. Let's keep it real.
Yes, good evening, Norbert. Very good show.
Good evening. Thank you very much.
I just want to say
it's the Minister of Health, Mary Isaac.
Yes, I want to say thanks to all our frontline workers, and especially to the team that does the contact tracing, and our CMO, of course, our Prime Minister, and so many other people who are assisting with our COVID efforts. I want to also expand on what Minister Dominic Fede just said there about the jobs that are opening up in the tourism sector. And I believe that our people must be very grateful for the fact that we are creating jobs again, that our people can go back to work. This is extremely important at this time when all countries are struggling.
Absolutely.
To create, revenue and to try and support the jobs that have been lost in all the economies around the world. And at one time when we were always being, being criticized for, having foreigners amongst us and appreciating what foreigners do for our country. I hope that our St. Lucia people now have realized the tremendous contribution that tourism makes to our economy and our survival.
Significant.
While we are saying that we need to go into agriculture, of course, and nobody has prevented anyone from going into agriculture in St. Lucia. But when you have such a catastrophic event happening and no one expected it, you cannot just say to people, go into agriculture.
Yeah.
Because even if they do, they have to wait for the fruits to bear, they have to wait for the vegetables to mature, and so on and so forth. And what do you do in the meantime?
Yeah.
So we have to be extremely grateful to the Ministry of Tourism, of course the Ministry of Health at the forefront, and everybody who is contributing to this COVID effort. It is so very important that we all unite and come together at this point in time for us to fight this virus.
Okay.
You know, there is so much more that I can say. I know that the Prime Minister was trying to get on.
Yes, he is.
But we as a government, as a cabinet, we have worked so hard to ensure that we protect our people in St. Lucia. I believe that the least the opposition can do is support these efforts, because you can actually see that they are materializing. And we are doing something good when other countries in the region are reaching out to ask us for copies of that very same COVID bill that they were fighting so hard not to allow pass in the House.
Yeah, absolutely.
So kudos to you for being out there and getting the message out there to our people, getting the truth out there, and for keeping it real, Norbert.
Thank you very much, Minister. Thank you for keeping it real. Have a good night. That was Minister of Health, the Honorable Mary Isaac. And we're going to end all the calls now, and we'll accept, leave the lines open. The Prime Minister has been trying to call in, and we'll wait the call of Prime Minister Alan Shastney. Folks, the protocols are in place for a reason. During the state of emergency, and now after the state of emergency, with the COVID-19 Prevention and Control Act in place. There's a reason why you wear a mask. There's a reason why you're told to sanitize your hands. There's a reason why you're asked to wash your hands. There's a reason why you should social distance. All of these have been proven as the best ways to minimize, if not to eradicate, the opportunity for you to become infected. Okay? Okay, sure, no problem. Okay, we have a call there. The Prime Minister's on. We're waiting for that call from the Prime Minister. Okay, we ready? Good night, you're on the air. Let's keep it real.
Good night, Norbert.
Good night, sir.
How are you?
It's Prime Minister Alan Shastney. Doing good. Thank you for calling, sir.
Very, very good show, Norbert.
Thank you very much.
I also want to thank all your callers because I think they all made very relevant points. And in particular, it's really great to see people keep talking about the division within my cabinet. It's so great to see the camaraderie that exists in my cabinet, from Minister King all the way through Dr. Rigobert, Sarah Flood, Guy Joseph, Ezekiel Joseph, Mary Isaac, Fortuna, Dominic, all of them. We've worked as a team, and if we had not worked as a team, we would not have had the success that we've had so far to date.
Correct.
And I just really want to congratulate and thank them. I want to thank all of their permanent secretaries and all the persons that have worked overtime. I mean, the Ministry of Finance, both my former PS and also now my current PS, Esther Rigobert, as well as the Director of Budget and her staff, the Director of Research, our debt team. All of these people have done a remarkable job. And while St. Lucians have been sleeping, I don't mean that in a bad way. These people have been burning the midnight oil to put together all of the finance proposals to get the loans that we've received, to make sure we're achieving all the conditionalities on all the follow-up. I mean, it's just remarkable how much. I mean, our Attorney General's office, it's just incredible the amount of work that they've had to churn out, not only in terms of the new legislation for COVID, but also maintaining all of the other things that we've been currently doing. So I just want to say hats off to them, my Minister of Security and his team and what they have done. But tonight I particularly want to really highlight two specific groups. The first group clearly is the CMO, who's gotten a lot of credit, and she deserves everything that she's getting. But Mr. Ramertan and also the contact trace team and her team that are doing all the testing, 300 tests a day, and the processing that they're doing. These are the unsung heroes, the persons who are at the airport doing the in interviews for everyone coming in, the background checks to make sure that people are coming in with their proper COVID records and making sure that they're authentic. These are the things, the details that have made all of the difference at the end of the day. The other group of people I really want to thank is the people of St. Lucia. I think that if we ever wanted confirmation that the public have been listening to the CMO and to the protocols and have confidence in this government, is what happened this weekend. With something as important as Jeune Creole, and particularly in light of not having Carnival this year. And I know how much people were looking forward to this, and particularly the people in my constituency. And we were meeting up at the Gap in Deriso.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
They got it and practiced the restraint. And for the most part, people kept their parties to their families and without any fuss. And I think that the public needs to take a bow. And I think that we showed that we are a team in this country, and we know how to balance health with the economics. And I know that there are persons continuously trying to undermine that credibility and put into people's minds that the government favors economics over people. That's not true. We've always put people first. But we do recognize, and I think we all do, that the government cannot carry all the weight by itself. And therefore, we need to get our economy open. We need to get the private sector working. We need to bring foreign direct investment in this country. So it's a bit disheartening when you see persons trying to undermine the credibility of DSH, which is an amazing project, and I think still has many more projects to come. They're working on the new hotel with the university coming in, the Hospitality University. Cabot, where the golf courses started, on a project that was dead, the project that had gone into receivership, and they resuscitated the same project. And even during this COVID period, are continuing to invest and hire people, and are looking forward to getting into the second phase and also the third phase of the project. The Saboshab project, we saw that Hyatt made their own announcement, nothing to do with the government, confirming that they had to come to an agreement with the developer, and that project is about to begin very soon. Canals, which is an amazing project with Dreams and Secrets. Again, during this COVID period, still have confidence in St. Lucia. And a large part, that confidence is being driven by the fact that we've continued with the airport project. They've seen that this government is committed to the development of this country and improving the overall capacity and the growth of this country. And I said today at a meeting that, when you have a crisis, you can either be reacting to the crisis or get in front of the crisis. COVID has shown that our midterm strategy was the right strategy, and we need to get ahead of the crisis. And part of that is knowing that it's going to come to an end. There will be a day that we will either find a vaccine or a cure for COVID, and hopefully very soon. Most people are predicting by next summer. And so putting your life on hold until it happens makes no sense. We need to continue to have confidence as a country and as people and to move forward. The strategy of getting the roads off the ground has been working. Getting the dam and continuing to work at the dam. St. Jude's Hospital, I'm so happy you were showing the construction of the panels there tonight. And I'm very excited about, in the next couple of weeks, seeing that happen. Continue to get the airport project started. So all the loans have been completed. The contracts now have been completed with the subcontractor, and all the equipment is in the process of getting here within the next 10 days. All of these things are going to make a significant difference in turning around the livelihoods of St. Lucians. And so the government's policy and programs have been working. I think the workers made the point tonight, and I'm really hoping, I've spoken to the opposition unofficially, and I will continue to do so. But I think it is disappointing for most of us that they have not come out and embraced and endorsed the health protocols that we're putting in place. There's no politics in that. We can sit and have a discussion if you want in terms of how you think they should be finessed. But again, as I said to you, how do you complain about success? And where there is a person today that would want to look at the number of new cases that we've had, but we always knew that that was our vulnerability. And you said it tonight, 737 cases in Martinique. We are always going to be vulnerable to that because there are some persons that will always think that they are immune from COVID. And well, I'm just going to let this one person in. But when they've done that, what they have done is jeopardized all of us in our livelihoods. Yeah. And that's where we say that you have to be your brother's keeper and we have to call each other out. If a person's not wearing their mask and not doing the proper social distancing, it's okay to call them out. And it's a very nice and polite way to do it, but hold them accountable because at the end of the day, we all have a responsibility to continue to protect the more vulnerable people in our society. And those are the elderly and people with underlying conditions. And there are persons that if in fact a person got sick in their household and they would lose income, that's equally going to be as damaging as if somebody else elderly got the COVID. So I'm just want to say thank you to the public of St. Lucia for an amazing job this weekend and continuing pressure to maintain the COVID. We have to maintain these protocols in order to protect lives, but at the same time also to protect livelihoods. Mm-hmm. And both of them are important. And clearly a life cannot be replaced, and I keep saying that. But livelihoods at this point are equally important, and it's about the psychological strength of this country. Because when people don't know what's going to happen in the future, they become very fearful. And I thought that Peter Josie made a very good point tonight when he said it's like being in a crowded theater and somebody yelling fire.
Yeah. That
is what's taking place, and I'm really appealing to those persons who are doing that. That politics is not worth that much. We are in it's very marginal. It's very difficult what we have to try to achieve here, but I think that we've been accomplishing the impossible. Dominic Fader is being very modest. TUI, the first place that they've flown to internationally is St. Lucia. That's a huge achievement. Royalton Hotel is opening up today, and they're going to be at an 80% occupancy for the month of November. Sandals is in excess of 76%.
Wow.
Windjammer Landing is opening up. Coconut Bay is opening up. We're seeing more airline seats coming out of the UK market than we had even pre-COVID. So it means that we are getting ahead of the crisis from an economic perspective. The CMO and her team, and the contact team in particular, because persons who are coming up negative are in quarantine, suggest now like you're starting to get ahead of the COVID itself.
Right.
And we're only achieving this together. We can only achieve this together. So I just want to say again, a big thank you to the public of St. Lucia, to all of the government authorities, to the private sector companies who had the courage to reopen their doors and to have confidence and to make sure we can turn this thing around together and continue to be a leader in this region. And I want to thank, all of the leaders of the region who have given St. Lucia tremendous support, the IMF, the World Bank, CDB, ECCB, that have remained on call all the time during this crisis. It certainly renewed my confidence in the world that we're living in, and I think that we all should take a bow, and congratulations to all of you, and congratulations to you, Norbert, on a fine show. Keep up the good work. I would love you to dedicate a show very soon on this whole village tourism thing that we're doing. I mean, Dominic is starting in Anse-Ray. Herod has really done an amazing job in Soufrière. Spider is doing a fantastic job, and there's more to come in Rosalie. And I know that Minister Fede is also launching a program in Canaries, the Castries redevelopment with the new market. The first part was done. We're about to start the second part, and also what we're going to be doing in Vieux Fort. So it's an exciting time, and I think that we need to start focusing and recognizing where we've come from, what we've been able to achieve in some difficult times. And I can say to you that we remain as committed today as we were when we first came into office to make sure we can build a new St. Lucia. And a new St. Lucia for us is a world-class St. Lucia. And we recognize that getting better every day at everything we do are the steps you need to take to build a world-class St. Lucia. So again, thank you. Again, thank you to the public of St. Lucia for all their support.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Prime Minister of St. Lucia. Folks, that was Prime Minister of St. Lucia, the Honorable Alan Chasney, wrapping it up for tonight. Just want to remind you, play your part in St. Lucia in this fight against the corona. Just as the ad says, wear your mask, sanitize your hands, wash your hands as often as possible. Social distancing is the key. And a lot of St. Lucians like to go and visit their friends just out of the blue. I'm passing by a friend or drop by a friend's job. If you don't need to do it, you don't need to go there, stay home, stay at work, reduce the possibility of becoming infected or spreading the disease. That's it for tonight, folks. Tonight's episode, Rumours. And a good night to the fans who are listening to the simulcast on Sky FM 93.1. Good night to the man Champion. Good night to Richford. Thanks for tuning in. Good night, New Village, Leclerc, Micoud, all around St. Lucian in the diaspora. Good night. Thank you very much. I'm Norbert Williams. Good night.
Hot 7 TV is the rising star of television in St. Lucia with our stunning 100% HD quality, fresh exciting programming, including a balanced professional newscast. We are now the fastest growing TV station in all time slots on cable. Additionally, over 10,000 households carry our plug and play antennas. Our mobile app has over 11,000 users locally and over 300